ng sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas na binubuo ng Army, Navy at Air Force na siyang maghahatid sa inyo ng mga balita mula sa ating Armed Forces at iba pang impormasyon. Mga katropa, hanapin at ilike kami sa Facebook, Twitter at YouTube. DWDD AFP Radio, ang boses ng Kawal Pilipino. Mga katropa, alam mo ba na ang DWDD 1134 kHz AFP Radio ay ang opisyal na radio station ng sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas na binubuo ng Army, Navy at Air Force na siyang maghahatid sa inyo ng mga balita mula sa ating Armed Forces at iba pang impormasyon. Mga katropa, hanapin at ilike kami sa Facebook, Twitter at YouTube. DWDD AFP Radio, ang boses ng Kawal Pilipino. Mga katropa, alam mo ba na ang DWDD 1134 kHz AFP Radio ay ang opisyal na radio station ng sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas na binubuo ng Army, Navy at Air Force na siyang maghahatid sa inyo ng mga balita mula sa ating Armed Forces at iba pang impormasyon. Mga katropa, hanapin at ilike kami sa Facebook, Twitter at YouTube. DWDD AFP Radio, ang boses ng Kawal Pilipino. Mga katropa, alam mo ba na ang DWDD 1134 kHz AFP Radio ay ang opisyal na radio station ng sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas na binubuo ng Army, Navy at Air Force na siyang maghahatid sa inyo ng mga balita mula sa ating Armed Forces at iba pang impormasyon. Mga katropa, hanapin at ilike kami sa Facebook, Twitter at YouTube. DWDD AFP Radio, ang boses ng Kawal Pilipino. Mga katropa, alam mo ba na ang DWDD 1134 kHz AFP Radio
araw-araw ang digmaan. Umaga't gabi sumasabak sa laban. Dapat protektado ka outside at inside. Immune Advance contains 4 active ingredients gaya ng lagundi, malunggay, non-acidic vitamin C at zinc. Tulong pampatibay resistensya para tulong proteksyon. Isama pa ang proper diet at exercise. Para katawan ay handa, Immune Advance helps support a healthy immune system. Immune Advance ang sandata. No approved therapeutic claims. Ang Immune Advance ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit. Available in Shopee, Lazada, and other leading drugstores.
Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio, boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Isang aklat lang ang iyong dala. Minsay wala naman pero papasok pa. Kahit anong mangyari ay tuloy-tuloy ka lang. Basta't kaming mayroong natututunan.
Good afternoon, Katropas. Welcome to Voice of the Teachers Radio, the only program for teachers, by teachers, and with teachers. Sitting on behalf of Dr. Ray Samson, our perpetual main anchor, and our executive director, Katropang Bobby Ancheta, this is your Katropang Jet Ramos. For today, we have 2 of our segment hosts who are going to do their respective segments for this episode. The first one is the Guidance Counselor's Corner by Katropang Herman Briñas, the Guidance Counselor ng Bayan. While the other one is the Techie Teacher by our beloved Miss Katropang Angie Aventino Salvador. But before we start, we would like to greet the following AFP personalities who have made a huge difference in our lives. First of all, we would like to acknowledge our AFP Chief of Staff, General Andres Centino of the Philippine Army, followed by our CRS Group Commander, Brigadier General Arvin Legamon of the Philippine Army, and our DWDD Station Manager, MCAG Group Commander, and the host of the shows, ang inyong kawal and Kumusta Pilipinas, Major Senon Pancito III, also of the Philippine Army. And we would like to take this opportunity to thank our technical staffs, our kasamahans from the technical department under MCAG also. Thank you very much. You're great guys and you really help us out. Thank you so much.
Magandang hapon mga katropa. Muli nagbabalik si Katropang Herman, ang yung guidance counselor ng bayan. Ngayong hapon na naman may pag-uusapan tayo at ang focus natin ngayon is about career guidance. Ayan. And maraming salamat Katropang Jet sa iyong introduction para sa ating segment ngayong hapon. Ang magiging topic natin ngayon, career focus at teacher's journey. Bibigyan tayo ng konting inspirasyon, no, kung paano ba ang journey ng isang guro na nagtatrabaho sa ibang bansa. Ayan, bibigyan tayo ng inspiration ngayong hapon. And let me introduce sa inyo mga katropa na yung aking magiging guest ngayong hapon. Siya po ay nagtapos ng Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in History sa Philippine Normal University, kung saan din ako nagtapos mga katropa. No? Currently, he is a middle and high school social studies faculty at Capstone Academy, JDF, Dickerson in Michigan, USA. Also, siya ay kaanib din or kasama din sa PACCM or Paaralang Pilipinong Director at the Recording Secretary ng PhilAmCo or Filipino-American Community Council of Michigan. Dito pala sa intro natin makikita nyo kung gaano ka-active ang ating mga guro sa ibang bansa. So hindi ko na patatagalin. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Katropang Bads. Kumusta ka? And batiin mo muna yung mga kaibigan dito sa Pilipinas at kahit na dyan sa ibang bansa.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay naman ako dito. Gabi na dito ngayon sa Michigan. Magandang umaga dyan sa inyo dyan sa Pilipinas, mga katropang. So thank you so much for inviting me over to your show. And hopefully I would be inspiring some people out there, especially the teachers, regarding our noble profession.
Ayan, so magkumustahan muna tayo, no? Kumusta naman yung, alam mo yun, yung transition mo from, tawag dyan, from working dito sa Philippines and transferring to other country. Hindi ka ba nahirapan sa mga, ano yun, yung pagdating sa mga papers, no? Yung yung mga requirements? Mag-share ka naman dyan, Katropang Bads, yung tukol sa mga requirements na kadalasan.
Sure. Prior to going here to the United States, nagturo ako sa Pilipinas after ng graduation sa PNU. I taught at San Beda College, Alabang for 7 years. And then, after 7 years, I felt like gusto kong mag-abroad. So, una muna akong nakapunta sa Saudi Arabia. At nagturo naman ako doon ng 5 years sa ating mga Filipinos na nandoon sa Saudi Arabia. And then I went back to the Philippines and pursued my master's at PNU then. Unfortunately, I was not able to finish that. And then the opportunity came knocking again to work abroad dito naman sa United States to become a social studies teacher. So I grabbed the opportunity and luckily, fortunately, in 2018, I was able to set foot in the United States. So when it comes to processes, medyo maraming papel, pero when you're really laser focused on your goal, makakarating ka talaga.
Ayan, maraming salamat, Katropang Bads. Ngayon, let's proceed now doon sa pinakaunang tanong ngayong hapon because we only have a limited time this afternoon. So the first question para sa ating Katropang guest ngayong hapon, ano ba yung nag-motivate sa'yo, no, to work abroad? Ano yung pinaka-motivation mo talaga?
Ang dami, to be honest, siguro gasgas na yung sinasabi ng mga nag-abroad na we always wanted to help our families over there in the Philippines. Pero sa akin kasi more than that, gusto ko talagang ma-experience yung nasa ibang bansa, lalo na United States of America. I don't know, it's always been a dream to, to go to the United States, and not only to become a what do you call this, but to become a teacher here, to be honest. So it's always been a dream of mine. So that's the main motivation, I guess, kaya ako nagustuhan at ngayon 5 taon nang nandito sa US.
Maraming salamat, no? And of course, iba-iba ang mga motivation ng mga kababayan natin na gusto magpunta ng US. Yung iba may soul searching din, ganyan. Yung iba
Yes.
gusto nila ng new culture daw, ayan. And iba
Mhm.
naman gusto nila matry yung ibang lifestyle. Ngayon yung aking next question naman, yung in terms naman yung naging adjustment mo dyan tungkol sa kultura,
Mhm.
adjustment sa career mo. Syempre, you have different types of students. I mean, international students,
Yeah.
and iba pang mga aspeto, baka may mga naging concern ka kunyari sa seleksyon ng food. Share ka naman dyan, Katropang Buds, tungkol dyan sa adjustment na pinagdaanan mo.
Oh my God, madami. Siyempre, unang-unang pagdating mo dito, totoo talaga yung sinasabi nilang culture shock. So once na you set foot in the United States, ang lagi mong hahanapin, syempre, there will be homesickness. Palaging magkakaroon yon. But since probably because I've been to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, hindi na masyado yung homesickness sa akin. I'm more into homesick ako sa pagkain kasi dito particular sa Michigan, not so much Filipino restaurants are here. So talaga maghahanap ka talaga. So lilibutin mo ang Michigan para lang makahanap ka ng pagkain na talagang authentic Filipino ang lasa. So yun yung mga adjustments na nakikita ko nung unang dating ko dito. Other than that, siguro yung what they call language barrier. Kasi it seems like you're speaking the language, the English language, pero yung kausap mo hindi ka pala naiintindihan. So at first nagkakaroon talaga ng mga barriers na ganoon na you were teaching them, you thought you're good, you thought you're okay, they understood you, but at the end of the day when you ask them questions, walang response. So nakakatawa lang, pero ngayon I guess I've been adjusting to it, and I'm fully immersed with how the culture goes here in the United States. Mostly because ang mga estudyante ko dito ay mga African American. So talagang yung communication is one of the barriers na medyo nagkakaroon kami ng conflict. But now, as time passes by, medyo nagiging okay na kami.
Ayan, thank you so much. Gusto ko rin naman itanong naman in terms naman ng culture mo in terms of your working environment. Kumusta naman ang working environment mo at ano yung mga naging adjustment mo sa iyong mga kasamahang mga guro? Of course, meron dyan hindi Filipino, meron from different countries. Ang alam ko, meron lang from other countries. Hindi lang naman Filipinas ang mga kasamahan natin.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, kapatid, kasamang Herman, ang work ko dito as a teacher, I'm not teaching in a regular public school or private school here. Ang tinuturuan ko dito sa US, sa Michigan particularly, ay juvenile. So I'm teaching in a juvenile facility, and I'm teaching those middle schools and high school students who have been adjudicated by, or court adjudicated by US courts or by Michigan courts. So meaning to say, sila yung mga estudyante na talagang kailangan ng tulong when it comes to school activities and all that. So medyo mahirap yung adjustment with them kasi unang-una, I'm not dealing with regular students. These students are really in need of something. What they need is not actually the lessons. What they need is support and understanding. When it comes to co-workers, I'm so lucky enough to have co-workers na sobrang babait. So tama ka doon, may iba-ibang lahi. We're only 2 Filipinos in our school, and the rest are African American, European. So para kaming international, international schools na iba't ibang galing yung mga teachers, iba't ibang bansa ang pinanggalingan namin. So we share different cultures, but at the same, all together when we talk about our own culture, and it enriches actually our own, understanding of what it is to be like an international teacher. So we can share our own culture to them, and as they share their own culture to us, nagkakaroon kami ng cross-cultural lessons when it comes to that one. So nakakatuwa siya.
Ayan, thank you so much. Medyo nakaka-inspiring part na yun. Pero nakaka-challenge yung trabaho mo. Sabi mo nga, you are dealing with the juvenile kids, di ba?
Yes.
Yan, bilang ako ay psychology, ang field ko, no, and nasa work ako ng counseling, and lalo sa school setting, no. So aside from doon sa academics nila, ano yung mga na-observe mo ng mga parang mga program or specific guidance program na related naman sa mga batang to? Syempre, di ba, juvenile sila. So, they have different needs from the usual or from the usual school na sinasabi natin sa US. Ano yung mga na-observe mo ng mga parang programa for them maliban pa sa academics na binibigay natin sa kanila?
Actually, one that I observed from them, lalo na yung mga high school who are going out of the system of the juvenile facility, lalo na ngayong graduation or incoming or upcoming graduation nila in June, they're really being prepared because we have our guidance counselor as well. So hindi talaga hawak ng teachers yung ganong part na yon, but our guidance counselors and our supervisors are working hand in hand kung paano i-prepare itong mga estudyanteng to na palabas ng juvenile facility. And what I noticed was it's almost the same there in the Philippines. What they do is they invite people from different professions and let them talk to these kids para mas ma-inspire sila. So when they go outside, they will not just let themselves be caught up with a lot of unnecessary things outside, but they are preparing them to go to college or even universities. So they let the people, the professionals, go to the building and let them talk with the kids for like an hour or two and let the kids ask questions on what is the best profession outside. Because mind you, these kids have been with us for like a long time, like a year or two. And syempre, paglabas nila, they don't know what's happening outside. So they really have to keep abreast with, what's the profession, what's the work outside, what it's like to work in this kind of environment, and so on and so forth. So yun nakakatuwa kasi para lang din kami nasa Pilipinas, and I'm learning a lot from these professionals who are invited to go to our schools. We have from the media, from business, and all sorts of, nakakatuwa because they're giving a lot of information to the kids. So I guess that's one of the strengths of our school as well.
Yan, thank you so much, no, katropa. Now, I just want to know also kung meron ka pang ibang naaalala mga challenges maliban doon sa adjustment mo tungkol sa culture, work environment. Baka meron ka pang gusto i-share or na-recall mo na challenge during your stay there.
I didn't know how to drive nung pumunta ako dito. At sa Michigan, hindi naman sa hindi pwede, pero it's so hard to commute. Sa Pilipinas, ang tawag natin, di ba, commute from one place to the next one. I remember back in 2018, nung hindi pa ako marunong mag-drive, I used to ride like 3 buses to go to the work. At ang bus system dito ay merong oras. Once you're late ng 1 second or 2 seconds or 3, hindi ka na pwedeng sumakay. You have to wait for next 30 minutes bago dumating yung susunod na bus. So it was a challenge for me. So kailangan mong gumising ng maaga para makarating sa work ng maaga din. So, yun. But it was fun. It was fun. Looking back, I learned a lot.
Ayan, so talaga namang dapat tandaan to ng mga future na mga aspiring teachers na gusto magturo dyan sa ibang bansa, no? Kasi ako mismo di ako marunong mag-drive. So parang isa talaga sa requirements talaga sa may mga country na kailangan mahalaga na you know how to drive in particular.
Yes.
Ayan. So ngayon naman, isa kasi sa nakaka-catch ng attention ko kung bakit talaga na-invite ko si Katropang Bads kasi nga doon sa recently na award-giving bodies. Alam ko kasi dito sa work mo, talaga namang alam mo 'yun, malakas yung advocacy part ng iyong trabaho kasi hindi naman basta-basta yung mga bata na nakakasalamuha mo. Let's talk naman about doon sa award na na-receive mo lately, no? Just to inspire the teachers na nakikinig sa atin ngayon. Alam mo 'yun, iba yung sa tingin ko in my own opinion, iba yung pakiramdam na nag-work ka sa ibang country tapos nakatanggap pa ng ganitong award kasi hindi basta-basta din yun eh. It's something like you're representing the country as well, no? The same
Yes.
thing with ibang professions, di ba? So let us know kung ano yung tungkol sa award na to and ano yung para inspiring story about it. Go ahead, Katropang Bads.
Okay, thank you. That award actually is unexpected for me kasi what you love, what you do is actually what you love the most. Yung pagtuturo. So malapit sa puso natin yan bilang teacher, di ba? And if you're really a teacher through and through, parang hindi ka napapagod. So the story behind that award was, besides teaching the juvenile facility or the juvenile kids, I'm also a volunteer at a certain organization. Not only one, but there are a lot of organizations that I'm part of. And it's this particular organization, which is the PACCM, the Philippine American Cultural Center of Michigan, is one of the biggest organizations here in Michigan. So I was tapped to be the Paaralang Pilipino director. It's like a Sunday school. So we run it's like a school, but we only go there during Sundays to teach the kids language, Filipino culture, history, arts, dances, rhythms, and all sorts of Filipino things to non-Filipinos or Filipino Americans who are born here in the United States. So back in 2020, they were looking for someone who's real teacher to, lead the Paralang Filipino. And I was kind of new then. I was like, I can only be one of the teachers, but I don't think I can lead until they ask me if you can pass your resume, if you can, just look at your resume, maybe we can consider you. So not thinking of anything, I just, passed my resume, I submitted my resume, and then a day after that, they called me up and told me, you're the best person we guess that, should lead the Paralang Filipino. And so I went to the Paralang Filipino, and starting then, to cut the story short, I put my heart, my soul to the Paaralang Filipino as a volunteer teacher and leader. So it's like I'm running a school, but it's for Filipinos and non-Filipinos. So for 2 years now that I've been the Paaralang Filipino director, we're able to increase the number of students from this number to this number. Just last May, we were able to let 60 something students graduate or recognize or give recognition to them. And so after that, I didn't know that I would be also be given an award as a presidential awardee for being the Paralang Filipino director and leading the Paralang Filipino to a greater heights. And hopefully not only the Paralang Filipino, but also other communities as well in Michigan. More particularly for those Filipinos, because my heart always, goes out to the Filipinos. So volunteer work is now more of what I am, I believe, more than what I am as a teacher. So, or I can give like 50% as a teacher and another 50% of my heart goes to volunteer. So I do a lot of volunteering work here in Michigan and I love doing it.
Yes, I feel so inspired also with your story, no? Tsaka hindi biro yun kasi technically or generally, ang focus natin talaga mag-work lang. And in your case, nakapag you were able to, do volunteer activities. And good thing about it is that you are serving the Filipino kids as well as other or non-Filipino kids, also sharing also to them yung culture na meron tayo. Ayan.
Exactly.
So talagang for me, I'm really inspired about it and sana magsilbi to na inspiration sa ating mga katropang mga guro na nakikinig ngayon. Wherein pag nag-work tayo sa ibang country, we can also do volunteer activities. Ayan. And I believe yung mga volunteer activities natin, kasama na rin talaga yan sa ating mga curriculum vitae. So talaga namang importante rin na may mga volunteer activities tayo. Ayan. So thank you for sharing that particular part ng tungkol sa awarding or sa award mo, no, Katropang Buds. No? Now, I would like naman to ask this time, maliban doon sa award na na-receive mo, ano-ano pa yung mga career highlights? Siguro you can share at least 2, no? Ano pa yung mga career highlights na pwede mong ma-share sa ating mga tagapakinig maliban doon sa award na na-receive mo currently?
Okay.
At least you can give us 2.
Okay. One that I can share, definitely as as a teacher of history and social studies, I love going to places. And it's one of the career highlights here in the United States. Being a teacher here in the US, it gives you the opportunity to explore the US on your own, based on your own perspective. and no one will tell you don't go there or something. It will always be you. That's one of the career highlights, going to places and meeting people that you don't know exist. You know, those people who are on the higher echelon, you really get to meet them and talk to them. And the other one probably is I get to experience what they call the American dream. It's so hard to explain that, but a lot of us would definitely, or we have to admit, a lot of us are always us looking forward to, achieving that American dream. And I guess I'm living that dream. So those are the career highlights that I can share. But I'm not saying this just because I wanted to, inspire the teachers to go here in the United States. You don't need to actually teach here in the United States. You can go here as a visitor and achieve that dream as well.
Yes, yeah, tama yun, no? Of course, we are not here to promote yung working sa abroad ng ating mga kaguruan. In fact, mas kailangan tayo ng Pilipinas. And ako nga personally, hindi naman ako nag-teach sa ibang bansa, but I'm happy naman with my career, with my teaching career here sa Philippines. But of course, this is just an option, mga katropang guro, no? Kung talagang sa tingin ninyo, you want to follow that American dream, for example, no? Then go for that. Importante lang naman ay, you can still serve your countrymen kahit nasa ibang bansa ka. Like the example of katropang bads, no? Kasi ando naman, may mga Filipino naman abroad. Yan. You can still serve naman the people as well. So tama yun. Now, I would like to know naman kung ano yung pwede mo maging tips naman sa mga aspiring na mga future teachers na gusto naman magturo sa ibang bansa. Not just in the US, but maybe in other countries. Ano-ano yung pwede mo maging tips naman for them?
Okay. Siguro nabanggit na rin to ng iba mong guests before, but I would always say that prayers really work. I really believe in that, not because I'm religious or we're religious. Other than that, always dream bigger. I mean, you can be bigger actually than your dreams. Kasi ang dami nating pangarap sa buhay but you can actually be bigger than your dreams. And that dream, if you put your heart to it, you work for it, I'm telling you, there's no way but to go there. When I was in the Philippines, I'm just, as I've said, gusto ko lang talaga makapunta dito, magtrabaho and all that. But who would have thought that when you started the first step, doon ka pala talaga pupunta. So my tip definitely is to follow your heart. Kung ano yung dinidikta talaga ng puso mo, whether that's United States or Canada or Saudi Arabia or wherever, or kahit dyan sa Pilipinas, do the best that you can be the best that you can be. Because at the end of the day, it will always be you who made the decision.
Thank you for that sharing, no, or for that tip, no, katropang bads. Actually, gusto kong i-shoutout yung friend ko na si Miss Karen Arsenio na talagang mahilig siya talaga mag-work sa ibang country. Halos naikot niya na ang iba-ibang parts of the world. Like, for example, this school year, andito siya sa Thailand. Next school year, sa Indonesia naman siya.
Oh.
Now, he's just going to work naman in the following, this coming school year naman sa Doha, Qatar, something like
okay.
that. So talaga may ganun pala na gusto dun sa mga teacher na talagang mahilig mag-tour abroad pero dala-dala pa rin nila yung, alam mo yun, yung true Filipino values of being a teacher din naman.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
So yeah, wala naman ako gusto nang maitanong, no, pero siguro this time gusto ko naman bigyan naman ng ikaw ng chance na, alam mo yun, baka mayroon ka pang gusto idagdag and na gusto ko sabihin sa ating mga teachers na gusto mag-work abroad at saka yung teachers naman na ayaw mag-work abroad, pwede rin. Anong may papayo mo sa kanila? Well, of course, sabi ko nga kanina, mga katropa, we are not promoting naman na we go abroad. No? Kung happy tayo dito sa work natin, it's okay, no worries about it. Alam mo yun, mas pabor pa nga para sa bansa natin kasi nandito tayo. Pero kapag naman kayo ay nagturo naman sa abroad, once in a while, bumalik din kayo sa Pilipinas para magturo. Para you share naman yung mga good practices mo sa pagtuturo sa abroad. Ayan. Going back to Katropang Bats, baka meron pa po kayo parang additional na gustong mensahe sa kanila.
Thank you for that, Katropang Herman. I totally agree with what you said. Totoo yan. We're really not promoting anything here. Pero if you feel it in your heart that you can serve better in other country, go for it. to be honest with you, mas inspired ako pag may nakikita ko o through Facebook lang, yung mga kaibigan kong teacher din sa Pilipinas na they're doing really good in their profession in the Philippines despite of, resources lacking in a lot of resources, but still they do great job. Mas nakaka-inspire kasi yung ganoon eh. So, sa totoo lang, ako yung mas inspired na mas dapat ko pang pagbutihan din yung ginagawa ko dito kasi what more than sa atin sa Pilipinas na kahit medyo hindi ganun kagandahan yung resources natin, but at least the teachers are doing it like it's as if napakadami nilang resources dyan. So to be honest with you, mas saludo ako sa mga Filipino teachers natin dyan sa Pilipinas, and if they get a chance to really shine their best sa ibang bansa, they can always bring what they have learned from the Philippines. Because it's like a launching pad in the Philippines is like a launching pad for working abroad. Lalo na kung galing ka ng public school or private school man yan, and the students as well. So you have to learn from all these things, and then once you're given the chance to work abroad, show them that you are a Filipino, that you are honed to become a real true blue teacher, one that cares as well. So parents and students as well, you can make it a goal. But syempre, sabi nga ni Katropang Herman, we can always go back to the Philippines after 5 years maybe, after 2 or 3 years maybe, and share what we learned from the country that we've been to. So magandang magandang goal natin yon. Thank you.
Ayan, yan. So thank you so much again. No? Gusto ko lang i-highlight, no, again, pag nag-tour tayo sa ibang country, it doesn't mean na we will just work there. You can actually go for volunteer works. You can connect with Filipino community.
Alamin ang mga mainit na balita mula sa ating Armed Forces. Tumutok sa 1134 kHz AM sa inyong mga radyo at manood online. I-like at i-share ang AFP Radio DWDD Facebook page. Ito ang DWDD Armed Forces Radio, ang boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Araw-araw ang digmaan. Umaga't gabi sumasabak sa laban. Dapat protektado ka outside at inside. Immune Advance contains 4 active ingredients gaya ng lagundi, malunggay, non-acidic vitamin C at zinc. Tulong pampatibay resistensya para tulong proteksyon. Isama pa ang proper diet at exercise. Para katawan ay handa, Immune Advance helps support a healthy immune system. Immune Advance ang sandata. No approved therapeutic claims. Ang Immune Advance ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit. Available in Shopee, Lazada, and other leading drugstores.
Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Magandang hapon mga katropa, ako po si Angeline Aventino Salvador at kayo po ay nakikinig sa Voice of the Teachers Radio sa DWDD 1134 kHz AM AFP Radio. Maaari nyo rin po kaming mapanood sa Facebook through the Voice of the Teachers multimedia Facebook page at sa AFP Radio DWDD Facebook page. On behalf of all the hosts of the Voice of the Teachers Radio, especially to my co-segment host, Mr. Herman Briñas of Guidance Counselor's Corner, thank you for tuning in sa DWDD AFP Radio, ang boses ng Kawal Pilipino. Ang ating segment ngayon ay ang The Techie Teacher at ang topic natin ay Teacher Experiences Connecting with and Motivating Gen Z Students. And ang guest po natin ngayon graduated from St. Louis University in Baguio with a degree of secondary education major in English. And he has worked as a teacher in FEU Diliman for 2 years and in St. Louis University Laboratory School for 4 years. And he is now currently in Jakarta, Indonesia, teaching high school students in a private Christian school. So, wag na natin patagalin pa. Ang aking guest for this afternoon ay si Mr. Jeric Feria. Hi, Jeric!
Miss Angie, good afternoon. Good day, mga katropa.
Okay, salamat. Do you have anybody you would like to greet before tayo mag-start?
Hello po sa pamilya ko sa Pilipinas na baka nood ng Facebook Live. Kamusta kayo dyan? At sa mga naging estudyante ko, baka mapanood nyo to. Hello, kamusta? And I hope na okay kayo dyan and safe kayo palagi.
Alright. So, hello po sa mga kapamilya ni Jeric and also his former students sa Pilipinas. So, Jeric, hindi na tayo magpapatagal. We'll start off with our question. So, as I said earlier, ang topic natin is how to connect and motivate our Gen Z students. Since ikaw ay nag-handle ng high school students, di ba, sa ngayon. So, how would you describe Gen Z students muna in general? Ano yung mga napapansin mong mga similarities ng mga bata in this generation?
Yeah, based on my observation, Miss Angie and mga katropa, from my students in the Philippines and even my students here in Indonesia, most of them are risk takers. Mahilig silang mag-take ng bagong opportunities or mag-create ng mga path na at some point hindi sila sigurado kung ano yung kakalabasan, but they're very courageous. So in connection to that, they're very courageous in taking risks kahit na unsure sila sa magiging result ng kanilang actions. And in addition to that, they're very liberated. Maybe because of social media, they're very open-minded to many things. So I think yun yung tatlo, miss, na katangian ng mga Gen Z ngayon. Riskers, courageous, and liberated.
Okay. So, it can go both ways, no? Pwedeng maging negative siya, pwede din maging positive.
Yes, that's true, miss.
So, what are the challenges that you think these students face pagdating sa pag-aaral nila?
Pag-aaral. I think lahat naman tayong mga teachers, even sa elementary or sa college, mga college students ngayon, not only with high school students, isa sa mga challenges is yung lack of focus because of social media. So they're into Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, name it. Talagang ginagamit nila yung mga social media applications na yan. So, pagdating sa pag-aaral, minsan mas nakafocus sila sa social media instead of doing their assignments, doing their projects or tasks at school. Kasi minsan mag-aantayan ng stories ng friends nila, ng tweets ng mga kung sino mang mga fina-follow nila. So I think yun yung isa sa pinakamalaking challenge na kinakaharap nating mga teachers sa pag-handle sa kanila. Especially kung yung school inaalaw yung mga bata na dalhin yung phone nila, imbes na makinig sila, imbes na gawin nila yung mga task nila, nag-phone lang sila to check their social media applications.
So regarding mga sa subject mo, are there any concerns from the students? Like ano yung mga usual nilang pinoproblema?
Pinoproblema. So far, miss, siguro yung mga priorities nila, overlapping priorities din, miss. Yan. So, hindi nila alam kung
marami ba silang workload sa school? Itong mga students.
Well, compared to my students in the Philippines, miss, I think yung mga estudyante dito sa Indonesia, okay naman yung workload nila. Yun lang siguro, baka hindi din sila sanay na, for me as a teacher, compared to my students in the Philippines, baka sa kanila madami na yun. So, aside from their subjects, kasi miss, they still have extracurriculars, they still have other activities outside the school, merong pumapasok sa mga review center, or may mga nagpapa-tutorial. So yun, miss, at siguro i-include natin yung responsibilities nila at home as a child of their parent, as a sibling. So, yun miss, yung nakikita kong challenges for them, overlapping priorities. Minsan hindi na rin nila alam kung anong uunahin nila, yung school ba, yung tutorial ba, yung extracurricular ba, yung responsibilities ba nila sa bahay.
Okay, so marami silang roles sa buhay nila, di ba? So they also have a lot of responsibilities. Okay, and at the same time, iniisip din nila siguro yung mga ano nila, yung mga role nila sa kanilang mga friends, di ba? May social life
That's
din naman sila. Oo.
totoo
So,
yan. And especially sa age nila ngayon, mas priority nila yung responsibility nila or yung um what do you call this one? Yung relationship na meron sila sa kanilang friends.
oo, that's right. So, um, how do you help these students? Kasi since they have so many things to juggle sa buhay nila, how do you manage and motivate these students? Kasi sabi mo nga, pinaprioritize nila yung friends nila, tapos they don't know how to prioritize minsan. Kunwari, in your class, how do you manage their expectations? Tsaka, paano mo sila na motivate to participate and to do their work?
First, miss, I always incorporate games sa discussion kasi it's a way for us teachers to catch their attention. So once na nag-enjoy sila sa mga games or sa mga activities na pinapagawa mo sa kanila, makakalimutan nila yung phone nila, makakalimutan nila kung may update ba yung friend nila or may nag-story ba sa Instagram. So I think giving games or incorporating games sa ating lesson is very important para at least ma-divert yung attention nila sa game na meron tayo instead using their gadgets. And another thing is you have to involve them sa discussion. Make sure na dapat ma-own nila yung learning. Kasi once na na-involve sila, ibig sabihin nun, in-own nila yung learning, in-own nila yung knowledge na pwede nilang makuha or nakukuha nila sa discussion. And lastly, rewards or reward giving is very important. Aside from giving praise, maybe pwede mo silang bigyan ng ng food like snacks or something. Just like in my case, miss, there was a time na nagbigay ako ng Filipino food or Filipino snacks sa kanila. So very happy sila, excited silang mag-participate, excited silang mag-join sa game kasi they wanted to try Filipino snacks. So there are many ways on how to motivate them to give reward aside from giving praises or giving food. Depende na rin yan, miss, sa technique ng teacher or sa tingin ng teacher na makakatulong sa kanya para makuha yung attention ng mga students.
So, ano yung mga topics na ini-include mo sa discussion kasi you want them to get involved sa usapan? What are the things that you include sa lesson na topics that would, spark the interest of these teenagers? Kasi ang hirap nilang i-please actually eh. Minsan parang ano kayang topics ang interested sila ngayon? Kasi since medyo nasa middle age na ako, so it's hard for me to relate minsan. So ano yung mga possible topics na pwede naming i-include sa conversation?
I think one of the topics, miss, that you could include is games, online games. They're into online games. So kapag aware ka sa mga nilalaro nila, kapag at least kahit paano may idea ka sa online games na nilalaro nila, magiging interested sila, mas gusto nila makipag-usap sa'yo, mas gusto lang mag-engage sa communication, miss, or makipag converse sa'yo. So one is know their interests, such as online games. Second, miss, Netflix. Gustong-gusto nilang manood ng mga Netflix series. American man, yes, mga shows, American series man yan, Korean series man yan. Kapag alam mo yung mga pinapanood nila, talagang magiging engaged sila. And they will share a lot once na alam mo yung interest and yung needs nila as students. So I think yun yung pinaka-popular so far, miss, na nakikita ko sa mga bata. Online games and series, movies in general.
I see. So we can motivate them by by including their interests into the conversation, and of course incentives, may it be points or no, or treats. Kumbaga, kung anong
Yes.
gusto nila. So
Mhm.
when I said previously na sometimes yung age difference ng teacher and students may impact sa way ng pagtuturo ng students. Do you feel that, or do you think may mga teachers nga na nagkakaroon ng problem about that? Does it really impact the age difference ng teacher with the
I
students?
think yung age gap, miss, is normal. Kasi nga, mas nauna talaga tayong nag-aral compared to them. However, I don't think that should be a problem. Kasi as a teacher, we should know better na yung gap na yun is always there. But we have to make a way to bridge that gap. So we have to learn their language, we have to know their interests and needs. So those are the things that we have to work on as teachers. Na hindi pwedeng, ito yung alam ko, ito yung rules ko, ito yung masusunod. No. If we should meet halfway. Hindi pwedeng nandito yung mga students, we should meet halfway. Mapag-uusapan naman yan sa loob ng classroom when you give your rules, when you give your instructions to them. So hindi pwedeng yung teacher is all knowing, because it's not the case, miss. That's not the case at all. Kailangan yung teacher nagbibigay ng information, and at the same time nagtitake din ng information from the students. It's a give and take process. It's not a one-way traffic, miss.
I agree. So hindi porket tayo yung mas matanda, tayo yung mas may may control sa klase. Hindi na ata uso ngayon yung gano'n sa teaching . So we are
Collaborative na dapat, miss.
ano yan?
Collaborative na po dapat
Yes, that's right. Collaborative effort talaga. So we have to work together. Hindi yung teacher yung leader, tas students susunod lang, ganun. We have to collaborate. So, what are some of the activities na in-apply mo sa klase mo na, yung specific activity na parang nag-enjoy sila or they work together na parang nagkaroon ng magandang result at the end?
Siguro yung previous na activity ko, miss, just last week, our topic is about people. So people in general. So grade 11 students. So I asked them to play certain games. Iba-ibang games siya, miss. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, may 3 kaming games na ginawa. The first one is called the Animal Farm. Yung mga students ay naka-blindfold. They are divided into 2 groups. In each group, meron silang animal sound na kailangang i-produce para mahanap yung kanilang mga groupmates. So, in-scatter ko lahat ng mga estudyante, tapos naka-blindfold, and they have to produce that animal sound. Hahanapin nila yung mga kagrupo nila using that animal sound. And after our activity, miss, ang ganda nung takeaways ng mga estudyante. Kasi ang tanong ko doon, based on our activity, based on the activity Animal Farm, how do we deal with people? So, ang ganda, sabi nila, through communication, through listening. Diba? So, based on the activities, napapalabas mo yung mga sagot na hindi unexpected minsan. Kasi tayo, may mga sagot na tayong ina-expect, pero lumalabas yung mga sagot na hindi mo inaasahan. And mas maganda yun kasi ino-own nga nila yung learning. Sa kanila nang galing yun based on the experience sa game. So yun, miss, yun one of the activities na ginawa ko, Animal Farm. And second one is it's like a relay na at first may 2 estudyante na nakatali yung ankle. Pupunta sila iikot sila, and from point A to point B, and then from point B babalik sila sa point A. And then after 2 students, magiging 3, itatali ulit nila yung ankle na. So, ang hirap nun, miss, nakatali yung ankle mo, paano kayo maglalakad? Paano mo isi-synchronize yung paglalakad mo? So, hanggang sa makompleto nila yung 5 estudyante. So, imagine 5 students na maglalakad, nakatali yung ankle nila sa ankle ng classmates nila. Tapos after nung activity, tinanong ko ulit sila, how do we deal with people based on the experience that you had? with our activity. So ang sagot nila, unexpected na naman. Sabi ko, wow, ito yung magandang result ng activity, especially pag sila yung nakaka-experience, especially kapag sila yung nandun sa situation. Kaya mas okay talaga na may mga games na ino-own nila, na nagiging part sila ng mga involved sila dun sa mga activities na yon.
I see. So, I think ang importante is they have a takeaway na galing talaga sa kanila, no? Na hindi mo spoon feed yung sagot. Kumbaga parang from their own ideas, and also magiging proud din sila kasi na-realize nila na nanggaling sa akin yung mga realization na yun para mabuboost yung kanilang confidence, ano? Oo.
That is why it's very important to make them involved sa activity. Hindi pwedeng teachers ang nag-feed lang ng information. Dapat yung mga estudyante din nagpa-part ng, nagbibigay ng part nila sa lesson and sa activity.
That's right. Okay. So, sinabi mo kanina yung mga personalities ng Gen Z students na risk taker, tapos ano pa ba iba? Risk takers.
Liberated, miss.
They're liberated. So, kumpara ba sa mga panahon na mga previous generations, mas open ba sila sa change, or ano yung mas positive sa kanila compared to the previous generations? Ano yung mas okay?
Yeah, I think tama yung sinabi mo, miss, na mas open sila into changes. Mas open, mas liberated sila. Unlike sa atin, to be honest, very traditional. Kung ano yung sinabi sa atin ng parents natin, yun na yun. Or hindi na tayo nag-go outside our comfort zone. But for our students nowadays, gustong-gusto nilang lumabas sa comfort zone nila, gustong-gusto nilang mag-try ng something new, to explore, to take risk. So yun yung isa sa pinakamagandang qualities na meron sila based dun sa description na naibigay ko, miss.
I see. So, paano kaya natin babalansin ito? Kasi kung masyado namang mag-take ng risk, baka maging dangerous yung kanilang tatahakin, or kung masyadong open-minded, baka hindi mo na sila magkaroon ng discipline problems. So, paano natin masisigurado na hindi mag-go beyond yung kanilang risk-taking at kanilang pagiging open-minded?
That's true. As teachers, doon na tayo pumapasok, miss. Dapat magbigay tayo ng constant reminder sa kanila na they should know their limitations. Na hindi lahat ng actions nila, sige lang ng sige. Sometimes, most of the time, they have to think. Right? They have to stop and reflect first. Tama ba itong gagawin ko? Okay lang ba to? Or sumusobra na ba yung decisions ko? So, doon tayo papasok as teachers. So, aside from giving constant reminders, yung pagdidiscipline natin sa kanila sa loob ng classroom, dapat constant din, dapat hindi lang siya kapag trip mong magdisiplina, dapat every time na may nakikita kang, hindi na maganda yung ginagawa ng bata, you have to correct that right there and then, or maybe kausapin mo siya after ng class para hindi naman siya mapahiya sa loob ng classroom. So yun yung important na responsibility natin as teachers. Dapat nakikita natin kung sumusobra na ba yung pagiging risk takers nila, and we have to correct that right away.
Okay. Since that is actually the last question that I have, pero I want you to maybe end this interview or discussion with your advice, maybe. So, advice for our fellow teachers and also advice for our Gen Z students.
Okay, so to our fellow teachers, we have to accept the fact that change is inevitable. So we have to adopt with these changes. We also have to be open-minded with the changes that are happening around us. Na alam naman natin kung ano yung tama, ano yung mali as teachers, and we have to guide our students para hindi sila mapunta sa maling landas, na hindi hindi lang natin sila pababayaan na mag-decide on their own, but we should be there, especially sa mga critical times or critical decisions na gagawin nila sa buhay. And to our students, there's nothing wrong with being risk takers, with being courageous, with being liberated, being open-minded. But we have to make sure, as what I have mentioned a while back, we have to know our limitations. Na alam natin kung kailan mag-stop, alam natin kung kailan mag-go sa mga decisions natin sa buhay. And we have to be critical sa magiging decisions natin. Na at the end of the day, lagi nating i-weigh yung kapakanan ng nakakarami compared lang dun sa ating sariling kapakanan.
Okay.
So yun, Miss.
Maraming salamat, Jeric, sa pagpapaunlak for this discussion for today. And I do hope na may napulot na aral ang ating mga fellow teachers and of course our Gen Z students. And I would like to thank all of you who tuned in to our show. And hopefully this will not be the last, Jeric. Thank you so much, Katropang Jeric. And sa lahat ng mga nanonood at nakikinig ng Voice of the Teachers, ako po si Katropang Angie. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa inyo.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWDD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, Kapisanan